Hey guys, Artosis here. Today I'm going to be bringing you a little show match between PartinG here as the Infernals. He will be in the bottom left, and his opponent is going to be Coffee playing Vanguard in the top right here, as you can see. Now, this particular show match is from that Devastator, as it's kind of nicknamed, closed beta build, right? So this is that first kind of closed beta. This is the same build, same patch, and everything like that. So as we get into it, you can see the Iron Vault being made. We have the Scout coming down immediately here. Of course, an Imp just going to push it back by PartinG here. And yeah, you know, this is all kind of standard stuff from what we have seen on this version so far. Of course, a little like harassment there as he is trying to go ahead and mine a little bit of Ethereum. But yeah, anyways, one thing to mention, you know, obviously PartinG is kind of considered the best player in the world. He does play the Infernals. I know a lot of people have been looking at commentated matches and saying, you know, are Infernals too strong in this particular build, especially this guy here. As you can see, the Brute coming out, it does split off, you know, into Fiends. So that's something that we saw a lot, especially in some other matches that I have commentated. But, you know, I think it's not quite as bad as people seem to think, even in this build. You know, we have Vanguard on the other side played by Coffee here, another very strong player. But, you know, I think it's kind of like, I saw one person comment and say that it's kind of like watching Terran players that don't wall against Zerg players. Like the Sim Cities are off. And that's exactly what I think as well, is we got to see slightly better walling. You have to basically block off against melee units. You have to play against melee units correctly in RTS games, because generally they're pretty darn strong if they get on top of you, right? So you need to have that really excellent Sim City. You need to have some splash damage ready and that type of thing. Anyways, as we get into here, the Brute is going to come over. And already we see that barracks finishing up. Surely a Lancer going to be on the way. And yeah, he's going to try to pressure a little bit here right now. That Scout coming out and is fighting a bit. The overcharge on the Bob's going to help push us back as well. Trying to go for a surround, it looks like. Ooh! Almost just barely sliding down. That is so annoying for Coffee. I thought for sure he had him against that ramp, but it looks like the Brute was just at the bottom where it didn't quite work out. So PartinG continues right now to kind of micro back while the Bobs chase him away. We have a Lancer out now, so PartinG going to decide that it is time, in fact, to back up, wait for this other Brute as well. And this is getting a little bit scary. You know, PartinG has expanded while this has all gone on at home as well. So it seems like he actually has maybe a slightly better economy going on at the moment. Since we're missing a lot of mining over here on the Vanguard side for Coffee. Now, he brings, you know, well, I guess we're just going to jump over here and take a look real quick, right? So Iron Vault there, we're putting a lot of damage onto this command post. That is definitely a bit annoying. The Lancers coming up and a few more Bobs coming down here as well. And, you know, of course, the Lancers, as he starts to build up a few more Lancers, he is going to be able to hold on a little bit better. We have another barracks, it looks like, coming down here as well. So, you know, maybe he wants to start going heavier into those Lancers. Maybe he wants to go ahead, get some Exos out. I'm sure we'll see Medtechs if he does continue kind of heavily on those bio units as well. So Greater Shrine already been made. Maybe he's going to want to go ahead for some upgrades here. Clearing out this resource camp very, very quickly. Of course, Habitat coming up. A couple of them even. The Biokinetic Lab. Yeah, so that's going to open up the production of Exos here. So I think that is probably what we're going to see. And of course, once you get a central command, you can get those med techs out as well. And, you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, you know, it is StarCraft 1 where you have medic, like Marine, Fire Bat, or something kind of like that, right? You give them a lot of sustainability. And I'm sure that's something he's going to be thinking of. A mech bay coming up now. Now, this is really different, what we're seeing from Coffee compared to a lot of other players. A lot of players really, in this build at least, focused heavily on Hedgehogs, just utilizing their quick speed, their high damage output as well, for maintaining some map control. But instead, this is like a double barracks opener after that fast expansion. And he follows up with that with that mech bay, right? So the mech bay is where you'd go ahead and make those hedgehogs, but he did not rush to that. Instead, focusing more heavily here, getting some lancers out, getting some exos out. He's going towards the center, seeing, okay, a lot of these camps have been cleared by PartinG in those brutes already. A lot more brutes, as well as some gaunts coming out right now. Looks like he's already broken through these trees and taken his own third base location. PartinG really on top of things here. Shroudstone goes down for defensive purposes. And really, there's not that much pressure on PartinG. This is something that we really should point out, as that vision camp is taken by Coffee. You know, when we see the hedgehog plays, the hedgehog type of strategies, they generally keep a little bit of pressure on. You're going to have to make a few more towers here. Well, PartinG did make a little bit of a defensive structure, but not all that much, honestly. So, yeah, anyways, he's got a good amount of gaunts, got a good amount of brutes there. We're going to have a Magmadon joining as well for a little bit of splash, a little bit of stunning also. Clears out this health camp. Doesn't actually utilize the health camp, which is kind of interesting. Maybe a bit afraid that PartinG is going to come up and attack him now. And in fact, I think that's exactly it. If he had lost his army out there, I think a lot of players would have gone and tried to heal at that point, but that would have been a real issue. Now, it does look like we have that like quick step hustle upgrade there. So definitely these exos going to be putting out a lot of damage. We have the overcharge that goes down as well. The Magmadon slides forward. Bob overcharge, and the Bobs come up to try to trap some of these units. They do trap that Magmadon, so that's going to get picked off. And honestly, so far, this is a very good hold by Coffee. I actually was getting a little bit nervous. It looked like a pretty big army to me, and the fact that he already has gaunts ready with their infest definitely looked a bit scary. But Coffee holds, no problem there. I think one of the big problems is we see PartinG down here taking a fourth base already, and Coffee's only on 2. So unless Coffee's units are going to outscale and he's going to push right now, he's going to need to think about expanding. We do have a little sensor drone that comes over and we'll spy on this lightly. I don't think that there's that much for him to really scout at the moment. And here we go. The gaunt's going to come up and they are going to start infesting everything. But look at this. Okay, well, they do get a little bit of fiend action there. And in fact, a lot of infests as well. You can see PartinG doing a great job with that stutter step back, kiting very, very well. And a lot of infests going down. A lot of these units quite badly hurt for Coffee. We don't see any med techs joining the fray as of yet. So a lot of this damage going to be a little bit annoying. Definitely wants that to heal up some. Another Magmadon has come down as well. I love the mix-in of those Magmadons with the gaunts. Of course, they are kind of expensive, so you can't get too many of them, but we'll start pushing forward here once again. The brutes coming forward here. PartinG expertly splitting there into the fiends before they go down. There is a Vulcan on the field. The Vulcan, unfortunately, going to be picked off here as well. And it looks like PartinG may just have enough. It's starting to overrun Coffee's base. Coffee with very little. You can see his first med tech has popped out, and that's not going to be enough either. Unfortunately, maybe a little bit too late on the Vulcans, a little bit too late on those med techs. And the swarm here, the Infernal Swarm of PartinG, going to be able to kill off this base. And of course, that is going to have to be a GG. PartinG looking like he is going to go ahead and take game number 1. All right, so we're going to go into game number 2 here between PartinG playing the Infernals here in the bottom right of Jagged Maw. And he will be going up again, of course, against Coffee in that top right. Of course, we just saw that first game. And yeah, Coffee, it was interesting. He definitely opened a bit differently. By the way, you can see these siege camps. Our observer showing us very important locations on this map. This is the one map where we actually have those siege camps so far. Maybe he can create a strategy where those siege camps are really, really going to help out. You know, I've really enjoyed games on Jagged Moss so far. You know, we have that map kind of split up by some of this difficult to pass terrain. You know, the smaller trees, only small units like scouts and like exos and fiends and stuff can go through. I'm still not, you know, 100% sure on every single unit that can go through and not through those. Sometimes I get a little confused, but I'm fairly certain exos do go through there. Not sure about lancers though, actually. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see about that. Now, you know, PartinG, he's just going to go ahead and split this very first one and utilize Fiends. He's actually microing that relatively heavily, like using some move commands in there to catch that scout really quickly. So he is going to be able to kill off the scout, and he's going to be pretty happy about that. Going to go ahead for a little scout of his own across the map here with those Fiends. And of course, this is a pretty far travel distance to actually get across the map with the larger units. So we'll see if that like plays into this at all. You can see Coffee here. He is going for a very quick biokinetics lab, and he did not expand right away. So it's just like an important thing to point out. Oh my God, he loses a Bob. Oh, not what you want to have happen early on here. That is a bit painful. So that Bob going to fall very quickly. We have a secondary shrine on the way here for PartinG. So yeah, he is going for a very fast expansion as expected. Just clearing out these resource camps. A little bit of extra Luminite and Therium added in right now. And, you know, the Lancer's going to clear some camps for Coffee up at the top as well. So, you know, very kind of timid early game here, right? A Scout has been lost, a Bob has been lost, and that's about it. But the thing that I'm interested and kind of excited about is how late this expansion is. You know, we see a lot of Vanguard players that really like to expand right off the bat, and Coffee here switching it up a bit. That quick biokinetics lab, what is that going to do for him? Is that going to get him like the units he needs to overcome the economy that PartinG is building right now on such a long map? I don't know. It's a very big question here, though. He is starting to get some exos out, and we did see a new command post going down. So, yeah, it looks like Coffee now going to go ahead and expand. In the meantime, these brutes continue to clear some of these camps. Speed camp going to be taken out on that left-hand side. Yeah, taking quite a bit of damage there on that, just barely living through on that brute. And continuing to kind of push up and scout around a little bit. I got to tell you, that one vision camp seems really strong to be able to watch those siege camps for a while, so you're going to know if your opponent is trying to set up some sort of timing attack with that. Now, the two brutes heading over here, and yeah, an Exo going to be surrounded by these Fiends, like, immediately. Very good micro there from PartinG. Gets one killed off, and in fact does force a cancel there. I think that was a habitat being made, so that is a little bit annoying. Could have been a sentry post, actually. I'm not sure if we did click on that there. But the Fiend's going to continue to harass. They force the overcharge in both bases. In the meantime, the couple Lancers as well as the Exo going to come down and be able to push these Fiends away a little bit. Obviously, they still have a pretty quick speed, but don't forget they do just kind of die when they're off Shroud. So that's what we're seeing right here. They are reducing in that health. They put a little bit of damage onto the Exo, but not that big a deal. Coffee getting his economy really going. A little bit quicker here. For PartinG, has a lot of imps already at work. He has had those shrines for a bit, and already has a greater shrine as well. So going to continue up that tech tree a little bit. Third shrine on the way. You know, seems like Infernal players really like to get through bases as quickly as possible. It really does allow for a huge amount of production of brutes. Or, I mean, if you're into it, Gaunts as well, right? Like, I've seen definitely both styles. Seems like PartinG really does like to get a bunch of Gaunts out as quickly as possible, as you see. Whereas some of these other strong Infernal players we've seen focus a little bit more heavily on the brutes, focus a little bit more heavily on just utilizing Fiends to maybe knock out bases when Vanguard players get out of position. Now, a mech bay coming up. Already, we do have a couple barracks. So it's like the double barracks into mech bay. I'm interested in this type of style. And he does get a sensor tower there, or a scout post. Oh God, I'm starting to forget some of the names here. Anyways, sorry about that. Right now our Vanguard player, basically what I wanted to mention. Yeah, it is sentry post. My God, my confidence not there. But anyways, the Vanguard player to go double barracks into that mech bay once again, right? That's kind of interesting because we saw him try that last time. And if he's going to be going for that, like, maybe he just needs a little bit longer to get the composition that really gets that going for him. Now, we see PartinG, he's clearing one of these siege camps. He is going to have this siege up, and he's going to start pushing across the map. So, you know, this is going to bring the game to a head relatively quickly. But remember last game, when we had Coffee trying the same type of thing, he was having a hard time getting his units together. Like, he had one Vulcan when he died, and and that was about it. Now, if you look at this, he has a flat cannon up already. The flat cannon really, really good. 4 Exos just kind of pushing everything back. Trying to get that quick draw hustle going, actually. And will get that. Ooh, takes one big shot from the siege. Gonna turn around, see if he can maybe kite this a little bit better. Oh, God, this looks really deadly from PartinG right now. A ton of units coming up. In fact, everything pretty much infested at this point. The flat cannon is doing a pretty good job, but it will get taken down. Looks like quite a few fiends coming down, and if these pop while still infested, that's going to be a problem. Looks like the infestation going to wear off, and, well, the Bobs are fighting while infested here as well, so they are going to add to this army of PartinG. Is PartinG just going to win this game again? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it looks like he's just about unstoppable. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel like anyone quite has the level of PartinG. He just has enough units. He has the right decision-making and micro. You can see his macro here, very, very strong, adding a ton of iron vaults on these 3 bases. And, of course, you know, he puts the pressure on by getting that siege camp so quickly. So, Coffee with just about nothing left over. And that's going to be that for game 2. All right, so we're going to continue this forward and get into a 3rd map here. Here's to hoping that on Secluded Grove, PartinG can lose a game to a Vanguard player, or to any player, truly. Oh, look at this. We're actually going to see the Infernals for Coffee here. So, kind of interesting. Wasn't what I expected going in. I guess I could have seen on that starting screen. But yeah. It is going to be an Infernal versus Infernal, and we'll see if maybe, you know, he fares a little bit better here with those Infernals. You know, Coffee having 2 very, very hard games. Just the pressure that PartinG puts on. Very, very difficult to deal with, just overwhelming people almost immediately in every game. Now, both sides, of course, getting that Iron Vault and rallying towards their opponents. You know, this is just so common. You know, you skip that early imp, get the Iron Vault as quickly as possible, and start putting that pressure on. There's just a lot of flexibility, right, with the Brute. Just getting some fiends out across the map immediately. And, of course, the Brute is out and will begin to go across the map. Imp getting ready to make this shrine, expanding as quickly as possible after a single unit. And I imagine we're going to see the same, but it does... Oh, we actually have a meat farm. So that is not a build order for an expansion, I don't think. Or maybe he wants the meat farm just for, like, defensive purposes, although it doesn't feel like it's placed super, super well for that. He is going to go ahead and expand as well. But let's see. Let's see what how this works out for Coffee. Now, Coffee does get the first strike there onto PartinG's Brute, so PartinG going to go ahead, turn around. Wants to disengage from this. Another Brute coming up. Just consistent production going down. And we have that meat farm, of course, up as well. Kind of more of a defensive stance near that Therium for PartinG. Couple Brutes coming across the map now. And... yeah, I'm interested to see actually how PartinG wants to play this. Is he going to be going for just like really heavy Brutes? Is he going to get into those Gaunts once again? He does seem to really prefer Gaunts overall, to be honest. Putting a lot of damage down onto that one Brute. And in fact, look, this is out micro. Like, he just has a lot more damage down on Coffee's units than what Coffee has. Look at that. He's still got a Brute alive. 2 Fiends versus 2 Fiends. Like... he's doing so much better in the micro. So you can see that it's like, yes, definitely the Infernal players in the matches I think most people have seen on this patch have outperformed the Vanguard players at these high levels. You can see like PartinG here at least is like he is simply out microing people, which is something he's done over the years in StarCraft 2 countless times. Still considered one of the strongest micro players in that game till this day, right? Now, of course, many, many tournament victories in his life. Now, we have a Conclave coming up. We have a secondary Iron Vault. So, definitely going to get some Gaunts going in there. You can see some Gaunts for Coffee already starting to rally down. Shadow Cleft coming up. Going to get some upgrades going. And only a single Iron Vault. So it seems to me like we're going to see Coffee maybe a little bit quicker here, getting into larger armies overall. So a Conclave comes down there, and that's going to be for creating those Gaunts. Coffee in the meantime, he's building up some white health and continuing to macro out a bit. We do have plenty of camps that really haven't been taken. I think at least on this patch, that speed camp is pretty pretty low priority. Feels like the speed is gone before you can get anywhere from over there. But yeah, it looks like we have another concave maybe going down there. I believe that was a concave. That might have been an Iron Vault. Let's see where we clicked. And another expansion here. Shroud Stone behind the shrine, kind of setting up again for some anti-harassment. Shroud Stone's pretty darn cheap to make, but they do take a little bit. And of course the Imp, as always. A forward shrine there. When we see those, when it's placed like that, the Shroud Stones, it makes me think of like when you see against like heavy hedgehog players, right? If you have a Vanguard player that's going for heavy hedgehogs, generally you need to zone in a more forward area, but I don't know about it in like Infernal versus Infernal, right? It feels like maybe your building structures should be very close together, because when you have something that far out, it's just like opening up surface area. Look how PartinG is setting up his buildings, right? He's making these little walls. He's making it hard so you can't just go anywhere you want. Look at that. He took a ton of surface area away from that Shroud Stone. And, with less surface area, basically, that makes it harder for melee units to do anything, right? So this is kind of the Sim City that I was talking about before, right? That's what we call it in StarCraft, is Sim City. A phrase invented by the Koreans in StarCraft 1. But yeah, it's like how you place those buildings, right? In how they help to block for each other. Now, the Meat Farm and Iron Vault going down here for Coffee, who, by the way, does not have a third base location yet. So even though he's got a lot of production here and looks like he's getting some upgrades and whatnot, PartinG is going to be able to outmass him relatively soon. I think we might actually have a slightly larger body, a larger army, rather, right now for Coffee. PartinG starting to move out a bit. And of course, when he's sitting on that shroud, he is maintaining that white health. So if they engage and PartinG has walked all the way across the map, don't forget about that. And don't underestimate that either, right? If someone's sitting there and has all their white health and you basically have run out of your white health as you get across the map, you better have quite a larger army or better upgrades at minimum to be able to make that attack end up working. Definitely something that I think people are going to have to think about a lot in Infernal versus Infernal. Now, PartinG is coming around, and he's going to go ahead and attack these Therium workers. Goes ahead and infests... Oh, gosh, we actually have a Weaver out right now as well. Really interesting to see that at this point. Maybe you can do something like drag in that Magmadon. The Magmadon going to go ahead and charge through everything. And Coffee does have a large army right now. Let's see if he can take this down. He takes down the Magmadon really, really quickly. The Gaunts, though, doing their best. And look at that surround. Oh, my God. The Gaunts having a very hard time right now. Trying to micro back through the small trees. And that is a lot right now of Fiends. They're going to come up and surround just about everything. PartinG just so scary. Coffee in a lot of trouble here. Starting to get surrounded a bit. He infests just absolutely everything there with the Shroud Stone. Bringing up another Magmadon as well. And, obviously Coffee a very good player, but this not going to end up working out for him. This race switch over to the Infernals, unfortunately for him, it looks like PartinG just has a better grasp on this matchup, and that's going to be it. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little 3-game series, and thanks for watching.